Hi and welcome to AS and A-Level Biology Talk. First of all, congratulations on selecting the best of the subjects we offer at A-Level. There is nothing more relevant than biology to yourselves. Obviously, you are the best piece of practical work that you can relate the subject to. So I'm just going to talk you through a little bit about the course. There is quite a lot to consider with biology. What I would say with all A-levels is pick the things that you really, really love and that you're really, really interested in. If you pick those subjects, you are going to, hands down, do better in those subjects than those where actually you think 6 months down the line, oh, maybe I haven't made the right decision. So please do think very carefully about what you select at A-level. But obviously biology is the best one. So I'm just going to talk you a little bit about the structure of the course, the content of the course, how it's assessed. And at Alain's, we do the AQA biology specification. So you can visit the AQA website, you can have a look on there and have a look at the content. There is a huge, vast amount of content for all science A levels, and biology is no exception to that one. So we always find that we're teaching right down to the wire when it comes to year 13. We don't tend to get much time for preparation, and that's just because there's so much to learn about, and that's because so much of it is quite enthralling. So with A-level biology then, at Elaine's, it is delivered by 2 staff members. So you have teacher 1 and teacher 2. Teacher 1 you will have for 6 hours a fortnight. Teacher 2 you'll have for 3. The teacher 1 will have 4 theory lessons and a double practical session. That double practical session happens on a bi-weekly basis. So every fortnight you get a double practical session. And as part of the course, in order to pass the course, and to get your accreditation for your practical skills, which is what universities are looking for, you have to complete all of the required practicals, and then you have to log all of the data from those practicals in a very specific way in a lab book, which has to be kept very nice and neat and secure in school, and those can be inspected by the exam board. So it's a very formal method of sort of recording that data. Yes, your teacher 2, you might do the odd bits of practical work, but predominantly that will all be theory lessons. If COVID allows in the summer, then there is a field coursework trip that you'll go on to do some hands-on practical work, and that's really fun as well. So hopefully by then this will have passed and you guys will be able to access and be able to do that. That's in year 12. So why choose A-level biology then? So first of all, for the love of biology, because obviously, as I've said, it is the best subject. It is so interesting. You are the best piece of practical work that you can apply your knowledge to. But obviously, it's not just about human biology. The specification is vast, and so is the subject. It may well be that A-level biology is a requirement of the course that you want to study at university. So if you know, for example, you want to do medicine, you want to be a physio, you want to do veterinary medicine, you want to do dentistry, then likelihood is you're going to have to do biology. There are a few exceptions for medicine whereby chemistry and physics will suffice. Chemistry is actually their sort of one that you must have. But most medical schools will expect you to have A-level biology. And they'll be asking the question why you don't have it if you do want to go into medicine. Biology is a very highly regarded A-level. It's classed as what's called a facilitating subject. What I would say is if you are a very high achieving student, have a Google of what these are and what Russell Group universities are. So the Russell Group is a group of universities which are predominantly based around their work around research, particularly in the fields of science and stuff like that, but not just in science. And so they are regarded as those kind of top-notch universities in which to go to. Have a look online at the UCAS website if you want more information about those. It's really, really useful, particularly if you have got a specific university that you're thinking about going to, and have a look at the entry requirements for what those courses want, because they are extremely high. Facilitating subjects are subjects that will be accepted for all courses. There are exceptions with certain A-levels whereby they will not accept them for particular Russell Group University courses. So again, if you know you are going for something competitive, like I've mentioned before, or if you know that you are aiming especially high for things like Oxbridge, so Oxford and Cambridge, then do your research, get onto Google, get onto UCAS website and have a look. Biology results are consistently one of the best in the school. We have very, very high success rates, experienced teachers, outstanding teachers, and also you will never come out of a biology lesson thinking we never did very much that lesson. We do have a bit of a reputation of cracking the whip. And ultimately, you will develop many broad-ranging skills with A-level biology. It isn't just scientific. It isn't just in terms of like your practical skills that you're developing. It isn't just in terms of inquiry, but A-level biology does have a very high literacy demand as well. So that is a consideration to make when you're making your choices for A-level. So what transferable skills will I develop? I study in A-level biology. So as I've just mentioned then, literacy skills are really important. The course has a very high literacy demand in so much as the final exam has an essay task which is actually worth 25 marks. That 25 mark essay is absolutely pivotal in determining the grade boundaries. So it will pick apart the very best students, and it will ultimately pull down the students that don't quite make the mark, because of the fact that it is very, very difficult. The idea of that essay is that you pull together, they'll give you quite a broad ranging, almost very vague question, and your task in space of 45 minutes, which is a very, very tight time frame, is to give them as much of the specification. So talk about as much of the spec as you can, linking it back to that question. So they're looking for the breadth of your knowledge. Can you link the concepts from the first module and the third module? Can you link them all together? And can you do it in such a way that you understand those kind of the basics of biology and how they all build on each other? But on top of that, there's very strong numeracy aspects as well. And there's a minimum of 10% higher GCSE level mathematical application questions, including statistical testing. So the demand for that is quite high. So again, if you are weak at maths, that will be a consideration that you'll need to take into account, because it is not going to be easy in that sense. Application skills, so applying your knowledge to unknown situations. Sometimes this is termed as how science works, but it's that idea of, you know this about this subject, how can you apply that understanding to something that you don't know? How can you try and use that as an explanation for something that's new and novel? Data collection, as I mentioned before about the trip in the summer, that will be going and doing field work, experiments and gathering data. And obviously you'll do this on a regular basis in your practical sessions that you have every fortnight. And then building on that, your analysis and your evaluation skills. So drawing conclusions, looking for strengths and weaknesses, looking for patterns, being able to identify things from things that you've seen before. And it all builds on top of each other. And as you go through, you'll find that these skills get almost easier in terms of you understand a bit more what's being asked of you. In the beginning, you'll find that quite a challenge, because there's a very big leap from GCSE to A-level across all the sciences. So what subject combinations are a good idea then? Which subjects complement biology? Well, the most obvious one is chemistry. And there's a very strong biochemistry component in the course that predominantly focuses on respiration and photosynthesis biochemistry, which is quite complex and complicated. Again, as I mentioned before about the numeracy, maths, if you're doing maths, it's very beneficial because it strengthens your math skills, but it also helps with that statistics component as well, which comes in year 13. Psychology is an excellent combination because you talk about the neuroscience aspects in psychology that will then feed into the year 13 neuroscience module. And again, psychology also touches on statistical testing. So that feeds in, and it also boosts your sort of understanding, giving real life context to these statistical tests. PE is a very good option in terms of anatomy and the respiration components of the course. So anything where you've got overlap just helps to sort of cement your understanding that little bit better and give it that kind of real life scenario. And then also geography, there's a big environmental, ecology and fieldwork component, which has lots and lots of underlying kind of common themes with geography. And also the skills developed in geography and psychology in terms of essay writing also help to develop for the essay at the end of the biology exam, which would also apply to things like English and history. Those are all transferable skills, but those are probably the 5 most obvious subjects that complement A-level biology the best. However, saying that, if you are very, very keen, you know, really, really interested in biology and you're going to try hard, it doesn't matter what combinations of subject you put, but those are a really sensible set there. So entry requirements for the course: minimum of a 5/6 in the GCSE combined science, plus you'll need a level, at least a grade 5 in higher level maths. However, what I would stress is that this is the absolute minimum that you need to achieve. It is a very demanding subject, as are all sciences. And if you are only just about achieving at that level, you are going to find the jump to A-level biology extremely demanding. That doesn't mean that you can't do it, but you've got to be aware of the challenge that you've got ahead of you if you decide that sort of pathway is for you. So nationally, the average grade achieved at A-level biology is a C. At Elaine's, our average is consistently above this, with an average of a B and a high B as well. So we are very proud of the fact that we think we offer very, very high quality, consistently outstanding A-level biology teaching. I've actually sat and talked to some of my A-level students this afternoon, and I'm going to give you a bit of feedback in a moment about what they've said about the course. What you will study is mentioned there on the screen in year 12, cells, biological molecules, exchange and transport substances, immunity and genetics. And in year 13, you continue that genetics theme, building on that, talking about research in genetics, environment and ecology, biochemistry, homeostasis and neuroscience. Now, if you are interested and also if you are not entirely sure whether biology is definitely the one that you want to go for, I would always recommend having a look at the specification or come to lab 110, where I can show you one of the textbooks and you can have a real look at the range. It is a huge range of topics, but they all interlink with each other, which is where that essay comes into the end. These are the textbooks that we use. You can get them as a single year 1 and year 2, which they charge you more for, but it will probably not break your back carrying it around, or you can get a double one like the ones I've got in 110, which are massive. You will need a course text. Work will be set from here, but they're also crucial for independent work. So making sure that you consolidate your learning, you go back over the stuff that we've done in lessons, that you do any practice questions that aren't set by your teacher, that you go away and do them independently, because you will get 9 timetabled hours on your timetable for biology, but the expectation is that you probably match as much of that doing independent work as outside of the classroom if you want to achieve your target grade. So as I said before, I've been talking to my A-level biology students today, and I asked them, so why would you choose biology? Why did you choose it? And so students said, I can relate to the ideas and concepts, imagine them in my mind, which really helps. So people who said that they, that idea of if I can see it, I can visualize it, it helps me. I thought it would help my other subjects because I do psychology and PE, which is a good choice. I really enjoyed the subject of GCSE. So as I said at the very, very beginning, pick the subjects that you're most passionate about. One of them said because I wanted to go to Russell Group University and it is a facilitating subject, and because I'm interested in understanding how my body works. And I said before, there is a big part of it that's human biology. It's not all human biology. There is plant biology in there. But you've got to understand that it's such a broad subject. You have to have an appreciation of everything in order to sort of like really, really grasp the vastness and the amazingness of biology. And also because you enjoy practical work. So there aren't that many subjects at A level where you will be guaranteed to do practical work every fortnight. So it's nice that the science subjects offer those. So then, A level biology. So students, what they wish they'd known before they chose it. So this might be a little bit of a, I don't know, alarm bells for some of you. That it wouldn't just be human biology, but I did enjoy that too. So as I've just said then, that math skills need to be excellent. They need to be really, really strong. That they're going to need to practice and write essays. That you can't just blag it. You are definitely going to get out what you put in, and it is a big jump. That you need to do lots of work on your own, independent, if you want to do well, but this will apply to all of your A levels. Turns out I'm not great at practicals and organising myself, but it has helped me get better. So even if you are not sort of particularly strong at those areas, you are going to definitely develop it because you'll have no choice. So if you've got any questions at all, feel free to drop me an email. You can come and find me in 110 and ask away. As I said before, pick the subjects that you are most passionate about. You are going to undoubtedly do better in those, but think about your options very, very carefully before you make any kind of decisions, because there isn't a rush. You can take your time with this one and think very, very carefully, because you are narrowing down your choices quite a lot. So if you've got any questions at all, go and pick your brains of your teachers, because that's what they're there for.